This is the Student Athletes Succeed podcast show, presented by Valerian Sports Performance Group. I'm your host, Coach Cortez, and this is the place where we encourage student athletes to take what you got and make it better. This podcast show is the offspring of Valerian Sports Development Group's Success Enhancement Program, which is called Student Athletes Succeed. One of our core program commitments is driving home the fact that every student athlete will reach a pivotal moment in life when they play their final play. That's why we focus on aiding student athletes and preparing for this transition, guiding them from the role of an everyday athlete to that of an everyday human being pursuing new forms of fulfillment. Our student athlete life guidance coaches actively support student athletes in crafting their life plans and navigating the paths that lead towards lifelong success. Student athletes are well positioned for a multitude of opportunities, and Valerian SDG aims to provide guidance regarding how to maximize opportunities rather than squander opportunities. For episode 2 of the Student Athletes Succeed podcast show, we're going to talk about how did NFL defensive tackle Perrion Winfrey fumble the bag. Allow me to set the stage. Between 7 and 9% of high school football players nationwide will go on to play college football on any level, with just about 3% competing on the Division I level. Out of that group that play any level of college football, about 2% will go on to play in the NFL. Perrion Winfrey had touched that rare air. He was drafted in the 4th round of the 2022 NFL Draft by the Cleveland Browns, joining a defensive line that featured one of the best in the game, Myles Garrett. During his high school football days, Perrion was a star on the field, a 3-star prospect in fact. However, due to not meeting the academic requirements to play NCAA Division I football, Perrion did not receive a ton of offers coming out of high school. Nonetheless, he stayed the course, worked hard at JUCO, Iowa Western Community College, and went on to become the #1 college prospect in the nation. He flipped that into securing a spot with a very competitive Oklahoma squad, going on to become a 2-time second-team All-Big 12 selection, and a player on the team that was ranked in the top 10 in the nation. His hard work and characteristic again revealed itself on the path to the draft, when he earned the honor of being the MVP of the Senior Bowl. So here it is, Perrion, originating from his hometown of Maywood, Illinois, in the Chicagoland area, a product of Lake Park High School in Roselle, Illinois, consistently overcoming challenge after challenge after challenge. Sounds like the kind of guy that you not only want on your football team, but also on your life team. However, his mental discipline, his off-the-field decision-making capabilities still needed some developing, still needed some specific attention and focused guidance. The challenge that many people overlook is the very challenge that ended up leading to Perrion fumbling his football bag. You see, being equipped with the physical gifts and football IQ is one thing. Being equipped with the mental and emotional discipline is another thing. We're talking about physical development versus brain development. During his rookie season, his star teammate Myles Garrett had this to say about Perrion.
"We've used our voice a couple of times, and at the end of the day, he's got to learn how to be a pro."
Perrion wasn't shy about acknowledging being held accountable for his actions. Upon returning from a team suspension for what was essentially deemed as conduct detrimental to the team, Perrion would state the following.
"I would say every rookie coming into the organization learns things that they shouldn't do. I feel like people of my age or people that are older than me or in my same age bracket, we're all going through the same struggles of learning where you need to be and how you need to be there. I would say that becoming a pro is something every rookie learns how to do."
Some people might say that Perrion is just skilled at knowing what to say, how to say it and when to say it. Not me. I think he's a genuine young man. His talent alone would have positioned him for that rebound opportunity when he got into trouble with the organization during the season. But for him to say this, it speaks measures about his mental awareness and his potential for growth and development. Perrion said, "It just let me know that this game could be taken away from you at any point in time. So just take it seriously, 24/7, and count your blessings. Just be able to realize that you're in a blessed position and take it seriously." Unfortunately, even though he finished the football season on the up and up, the off-season decision-making struggles got the best of him. The first incident, on April 10, 2023, Perrion was arrested in Harris County, Texas, for misdemeanor assault against a woman he was dating. According to the court document, Perrion caused injury to the woman by grabbing and pulling her with his hand. Although the case was officially dismissed on June 9th, upon Perrion's completion of a pretrial diversion program, it was another domino added to the now narrative that he could not get it together. And thereby, the second incident was the boiling point. On Wednesday, July 19, 2023, the Cleveland Browns released Perrion after he was involved in a public incident on Tuesday, July 18th, which was partially caught on cell phone recorded video, whereas a different female, in which he had some prior dealings with, had attempted to reconnect with him. Yet he ignored her advances, which led to the female calling him a derogatory term that starts with the letter P.
Police report indicated the victim states that they were inside the hotel lobby when they observed suspect Winfrey walking through with a friend. She stated that she knows the suspect and has his phone numbers on her phone. The witness shouted out his name out loud, and when he didn't respond, the victim yelled at him, calling him a P-word. Victim states that Winfrey became upset and started to approach them, so they exited the lobby, quickly heading north towards Euclid Ave.
See, there is a such thing as street harassment, and that involves unwanted comment, gestures, or acts directed at someone in a public space without their consent. So when the woman called out to Perrion and he ignored her, that was the first instance of her harassing him. She then proceeded to call him that derogatory term, which was the second instance of her harassing him. Now don't misunderstand me, I'm not making excuses for Perrion. I don't agree with his subsequent actions. He needs to learn from this mistake. Student athletes that are listening to this message need to learn from Perrion fumbling his opportunity. I state what I'm stating simply to add context to the situation, because the way that it had been covered had been completely incomplete. Check me out. We don't know what Perrion had been through in his life. What if he felt threatened when a female that he at one point chilled with began disrespecting him? What if her doing that triggered some memories of trauma that he may have experienced in his lifetime? His alleged response, when put in that context, can be seen as defensive mechanisms. On the recorded video, a male the female described as being Perrion can clearly be heard saying, "You know I got it on me." That's to say, don't play with me. You know what I'm about, and you know I'm strapped. What that woman did was similar to a person in the woods proactively going over to a bear and poking it, then calling for help, when the bear responds by responding with its form of aggression. See, it wasn't his fault that he was harassed, which is more than likely what Perrion was alluding to in his now since deleted tweet, which stated, "The truth will come out." However, it was his responsibility to make a better decision in the moment. Let's break that down. Perrion initially embraced those females being in his orbit. He willingly brought them into his social circle. Whatever happened, causing him to not want to chill with them anymore. But nonetheless, he allowed them initially to get comfortable with being in his aura. The silly females will do what silly females do, and a mature man would have overlooked the silliness and went about his business. Yet, in his immaturity stage, he took the bait, fell for the trap. And that's just the reality of the situation. Now let's get back to more of the story of the second incident. The primary female involved said they began to record him because they were afraid. Yet it's also likely that they began to record him to embarrass him, to set him up, or to obtain leverage for a payoff. And the reason I say that was a likely possibility is because of the language she used when he initially ignored her advance, along with the smirk that is visible on the still image of the video that she had recorded. One of those
"I got you"
smirks. She most certainly did not have the look of a person who was afraid. She had the look of a person who was either amused by the situation or turned on by the situation. Furthermore, in the police report, she indicated that even after Perrion allegedly took the phones from her, her and her friend followed Perrion and his friend down an alley and watched as Perrion and his friend hopped in the car and left the scene. So, she began recording because she was afraid. She indicated that she saw him with a handgun, yet still followed him as he went down an alley to go to the vehicle he was riding in. Anyhow, let's look at this possibility. Perrion and Ohio's hottest white girl, which is what she went by at the time on IG. Now she goes by Atlanta's hottest white girl. Met at a club. Perrion was feeling her look and was feeling the vibe. She peeped that he was moving like either an athlete or a street cat, and she was feeling his vibe. They exchanged numbers. They kicked it a few times. More likely than not, she gave him a little bit of that spicy kind of attitude, and he wasn't feeling it. They probably got into it, and he cut her off. She felt disrespected or humiliated, and when she saw him at a spot they both frequented, she made her move. And obviously he wasn't operating on that vibrational frequency any longer, but wasn't equipped with how to properly distance himself from a potentially volatile situation. And he reacted in a manner in which he thought she would respect, considering the way that he had come to know her to carry herself. Little did he know, she was pulling his puppet strings, and I say again, he fell for the trap. She was smirking in the video while recording him, yet indicated after the fact that she was afraid. And then after he allegedly put his hands on her and took her phone, she took a pic of a bruise that was on her neck, which could have come from the alleged incident or could have happened beforehand. We don't know. What we do know is, although Perrion, from what I could find online, did not have any prior arrest before the April domestic violence misdemeanor and the July incident with Ohio's hottest white girl, Perrion had developed what was perceived by the Cleveland Browns as a pattern of behavior involving his conduct with females. Hence their decision to release him from his NFL contract. This whole story is yet another cautionary tale for youth student athletes, especially our young black men who excel in sports. There's evidence with Perrion, someone that is familiar with you and has grown to become comfortable with you, may become your worst enemy if you decide to cut ties with them. So all in all, be careful who you make connections with. Be mindful of who you allow yourself to be attracted to. Be selective with who you allow in your inner circle. Think before you move. Perrion's career is in limbo because of two decisions which only took a few moments, yet are having a lifetime's worth of effects. And to no surprise, out of the many videos covering the situation, not one video is talking like I'm talking. Not one video examined the character of the character in which Perrion chose to affiliate himself with. On the other hand, Perrion has a track record of being a likable guy, of being a team first guy, of being someone who worked hard to achieve the level of success that he attained. Perrion is on record saying that he needed to mature. We have two incidents involving two females, and the bottom line is Perrion messed up. Perrion was wrong. He should have removed himself from both situations. Putting your hands on a female is a big no-no. Black men, we have to set the example for our young black men, for our young black youth. Men across the board, the same thing applies. setting the example by making better decisions involving the selection of the females we choose to associate with. Making better decisions regarding when a situation with a female gets a little tense, walk away from that situation. If the female threatens that she's going to fly away, let her fly away. They say that birds fly south for the winter. What they do when winter is over with. Exactly. But let's get back to this. We don't have video on the first incident, yet the reports lean towards describing a situation where Perrion and his then lady friend, who he was dating, had a disagreement. She attempted to walk away from the situation. Rather than allowing her to fly away like he should have been disciplined enough to do, he attempted to restrain her from leaving. It is said that she was attempting to walk away from him. He grabbed her hand, thus causing what was described as bodily injury per court records. This brother is 6'4", 290 pounds, and regardless of intent, that is considered physically intimidating and domestically violent. No matter how much you like her or love her, leave that situation and leave that woman. If she want to go, let her leave. Otherwise, you might find yourself in a bad situation because you made a bad move. Think before you move. If you're a student athlete listening to this, pay attention, take notes, learn some lessons from Perrion's mistakes. If you're a person of influence within the circle of influence of a student athlete, utilize this cautionary tale to help lead them towards making better decisions. Perrion ended up being unemployed, potentially losing access to his NFL dream forever, being advised to pursue playing in the XFL, along with being pressed up against the wall, having to defend himself against the aggravated robbery accusations from Ohio's hottest white girl, which could have morphed to armed robbery accusations, and more likely than not, having to deal with depressive episodes as a result of being knocked off course regarding the pursuit of his NFL dream. So there he was, about to turn 23 years old and feeling like his whole world was crumbling right before his eyes. Now, let's talk about the bread. Let's talk about fumbling that NFL bag that he worked so hard to earn. Per SpotTrack.com, originally Perrion had signed a 4-year contract worth just shy of $4.5 million with the Cleveland Browns, and that contract was designed to end after the 2025 season. His average annual salary on that contract was a little over $1 million a year. His poor decision making led to the Cleveland Browns releasing him, thus voiding out the remainder of the 4-year contract he had signed. Therefore, he only played 1 season under that contract. Alright, so boom. The New York Jets peep game. They say, he's a young cat. We enjoyed working with him at the Senior Bowl. We can get him for the cheap on a 1-year prove-it deal. And with outstanding behavior off the field, along with solid production on the field, we'll potentially throw him another bag to retain his services. So they make the decision to sign Perrion to a 1-year, $216,000 contract. Now, let's run them numbers. With the intricate nature of how pro contracts are structured, for the 2022 season, Perrion had received a little bit over $1.5 million from the Cleveland Browns. For the 2023 season, first of all, he wasn't signed until halfway through the season, and as a result, Perrion had received about $150K from the New York Jets. So, those 2 errors in judgment cost Perrion just shy of $1 million. That's crazy. Listen to me carefully. Let them fly away, and fly to whoever, wherever. It ain't worth it. Learn to walk away from situations that are walkawayable. And I get it. We're attracted to who we're attracted to. That's a given. Cool. Whatever. But just know that that could be a $1 million or more fatal attraction. When we make this thing that we're doing all about sports, and neglect to take the time that we have with these young men, with these young women, and miss the opportunities to instill within them principles of respect, leadership, discipline, honor, and love. We're truly doing them a huge disservice, because even those that are so fortunate enough to go on to touch that rare air, they can quickly lose the opportunity in the same amount of time that it takes to run one play. All that hard work, all the sacrifice, all the blood, sweat, and tears, all for what? To have to deal with the public humiliation? To have to deal with wishing and hoping for another opportunity? Come on, man. Y'all gotta feel what I'm saying. You're with these youth during practice. Some of y'all picking them up and dropping them off. Don't just make your conversation with them just about that ball, just about that sport. And yeah, we know it may not completely register with them right here and right now, but time after time after time, whenever I run into a former youth athlete that I've coached, they tell me, "Coach, I see what you were saying. It makes sense now. I ain't want to hear it when you was telling me, but it helped me get through this situation or that situation, because I had you in my head talking me through it, and I appreciate that, Coach." So I encourage y'all to continue to be positively impactful, to continue to be selfless in your service, to continue to show up and show out for our youth, so that you can help them pave the way for a brighter present as well as a brighter future for our community. That's all I got for y'all on today's episode, and I'm going to close out by sharing with you some information about the not-for-profit business that we support. Valerian Sports Development Group is a not-for-profit community development business that's committed to developing and impacting the lives of student athletes ages 9 to 25 as they navigate through their 3 core life stages. Core life stage number 1, ages 9 to 13. Core life stage number 2, ages 14 through 19. Core life stage number 3, ages 20 to 25. Valerian SDG has 5 fundamental programs. Our Success Enhancement Program, Student Athletes Succeed. Our Leadership Development Program, Student Athletes Lead. Our Educational Excellence Program, Student Athletes Excel. Our Business, Career, and Workforce Development Program, Student Athletes Work. Our Community Service Program, Student Athletes Serve. Here's the thing. Sports is the hook, but it's more than sports. It's bigger than sports. We utilize sports as a tool for constructing and revitalizing our communities. We utilize sports to influence and transform our people. And we need y'all help. We need business owners to join with us with the Student Athletes Work Program so that we can partner you all with our youth so they can see that there is more to life than what they may be limited to seeing on a daily basis, which contributes to their limited vision of life. Because a lot of these kids are hurting. A lot of these kids are suffering. A lot of these kids are in pain. And it's up to us to do something about that. Join our giving circle. Give back to our youth. Help us be better positioned to help our youth. We invite both individuals and companies to join forces with us to uplift, support, and inspire the youth of our communities through the programs that the Valerian Sports Development Group is advancing. Financial contributions can be made either annually, quarterly, or monthly. Visit the Giving Circle page on our website, www.valeriansdg.org. www.v as in victory, ALERIANSDG.org. Follow us and inbox us on IG at Valerian SDG. If you represent a business or institution that is interested in supporting and or collaborating with us, either email info@valeriansdg.org or text/call 678-990-8494. Again, that's 678-990-8494. And on that note, That concludes episode 2 of the Student Athletes Succeed podcast show. And to all my student athletes out there, remember to take what you got and make it better. Y'all stay up and stay solid.